The Sportscast, October 7, 2020. If you haven't yet, please subscribe in all our channels, Periscope, YouTube, and iTunes. And if you're in iTunes, please leave a rating and review. It will help us out tremendously. And we're also on DAB, online digital radio. So make sure you check us out. And you can do that by visiting on thesportscast.net, thesportscast.net for the latest and greatest in sports news. And all our podcasts are there as well. And this episode is brought to you by Insta Bible app. You can download the Insta Bible app on the iOS App Store. Dwayne Haskins, his time is up at Washington. He's now being benched by the Washington football team. And Kyle Allen, a guy from Carolina, will be the starting quarterback. And the backup quarterback will be Alex Smith. And join us together. Today is Mr. Ryan Christa, all the way from upstate New York. Welcome back to the Sportscast.
Santiago, what a wonderful day to be talking sports.
A lot going on. Which we're going to jam it up a little bit for half an hour. How do you feel about that?
Let's do it fast and furious. We like it.
Sounds good. Okay, let's go to the Washington football team. Ryan, they made a change, obviously. The Redskins have been having a kind of a bad couple of weeks. They won their first game, their opening game with the Eagles, but then they lost their last three, so they're pretty much 1-3. What do you think about these changes, and you think Kyle Allen is the man in Washington? I am losing your audio.
Oh, sorry. All right, can you?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was a little thrown off by the decision. Not that to bench him, but to go with Kyle Allen over Alex Smith. I thought playing Alex Smith is more of a veteran guy who's been around, maybe rally up the team, but obviously I'm not there in practice. Maybe Kyle Allen is outperforming Alex Smith in practice. But Kyle Allen, he's been around not a long time. Two really okay seasons in Carolina. He played 13 games last year, threw for 3,300 yards, 17 touchdowns, 16 interceptions, which is not awesome. But I think you've got a division in Santiago where even though they're 1-3, they're practically tied for the division. Because the division's so bad. So you don't want to go too far. You want to try to rally the team, stop this losing streak. You could be increasing trust of it right now. So the winning division at 1-2-1. So I can understand that move because Dwayne Haskins isn't really improving. He's falling behind. He's putting up good stats because they're falling behind, and then up throwing at the end of the game. I think they don't want to do that. They want to take control from the beginning of the game, and hopefully a switching of the quarterback will do that. Kyle Allen's a guy who started out at Texas A&M, highly regarded player, and then ended up at Houston for his last couple of years, put up decent stats. I think, you'll see the team. I just don't think the team is overall talented. I don't know exactly what they're hoping for. To me, I would have kept Haskins going because, again, get to the playoffs. You're not going to win a championship this year. You're going. I don't know if you've seen enough sample size. Maybe the organization has. But remember, Ron Rivera, the new coach, did not draft Dwayne Haskins. It was the previous regime. So they really don't owe anything to Dwayne Haskins. So could this be a move to go in another direction? So when the draft comes next year, they're ready to make another change at the quarterback. We'll see.
How about Alex Smith? He has now gotten better after a year injury. He's now the backup quarterback. What are the chances for him to move up to the one spot if Kyle Allen doesn't do well?
I think there's a good chance because, again, you're talking about a player who's battled, a horrific leg injury in Alex Smith. Many surgeries. Actually, be actually listed in a roster right now is kind of impossible. Highly unlikely. But so I think there's there's still that factor. You know, you don't know exactly how he's going to react once he gets on the field. But again, I think, you know, a game or two that Allen struggles, I think Smith will get a chance. Because right now Haskins went from 1 to 3, and I think that putting him at the 3 means he's inactive for the game. You know, it gives him a chance to clear his head, watch the game, not worry about, you know, that he's going to go in, because it's very highly unlikely he goes into the game. So I think if they ever make a quarterback change again, I actually think they go back to Haskins over Smith.
Interesting. So Haskins definitely has a shot to come back.
Yeah, because he's got the talent. You know, they have Terry McLaughlin, and, you know, beyond that, right now they don't have a whole lot going on for that team. So they don't. I think this team is building. I know kind of when you say the Redskins fan, they've been building for a long time, but I think they got the right coach, and I think they drafted well. It's just going to take some time. So to me, I think they pulled the trigger a little early, but that's, again, I think a new coach wants his own player back there.
A whole lot of drama, of course, with the Washington football team, and also keep in mind that Ron Rivera is battling cancer, so there's a lot going on. But as Ryan said, they do have the chance to win the NFC East.
Have you ever seen anything this bad, Santiago? Oh my goodness. What a dumb! The definition of a dumpster fire is the NFC East right now.
But the Cowboys, I mean, what's up with the Cowboys? Now, is it a coaching issue, or are they just making some dumb mistakes?
They're just falling behind by a lot. Their defense is playing terrible. You know, then Dak Prescott's putting out, I mean, remarkable numbers. You know, 450 yards plus in 2 games in a row, unheard of. But, you know, they're falling behind by so many points. They're always playing catch-up mode that, you know, they need to start the game stronger. Yeah, I think coaching is huge. I didn't know what you're going to get from Mike McCarthy his second time going around, but this is the reasons why the Packers fired him. Yes, he's got a good offensive mind, but I don't think he's a guy to ride that ship. I don't think he's a good head coach.
Definitely something to look at. More NFL news. Ryan, a second New England Patriot game. Stefan Gilmore, he's a cornerback, got tested positive for COVID-19 this morning. Practice was canceled. I've heard they canceled practice before they found out, and then I also heard another story that they canceled right after they found out. What are your thoughts?
I probably presume it canceled practice once the organization knew there was another positive test, because basically you don't want anybody around, you know. And by the time the media got wind of, you know, a positive test, they found out practice is canceled. That's kind of how I suspect it happened. It's not good news, Santiago. Not good news at all. But again, you gotta test everybody, and then you gotta test the Chiefs, Santiago. You know, they just played a game 2 days ago, so that's something to really look at too. Are they going to play the Broncos on Sunday? If it's just Gilmore, probably, as long as the Chiefs didn't get it also. It's just a delicate situation. It's, you know, the NFL is still learning how, you know, they got protocols, but protocols are just words written on the paper until something actually happens, you know. And there's you got to be able to put them into practice, you know. And, you know, I think we just got to deal with it, you know. It's a new normal.
Well, they most likely got to close down the practice, like the Patriots practice facilities.
At least I think it's got to be 2 days, I think, at least.
Wow.
So, again, I think that's the reason why they wouldn't play the Broncos this week, at least on Sunday.
You're hoping that game will be postponed, which is what it sounds like. It will be postponed.
You know, we wake up first thing, you know, this morning, good news, you know, another day yesterday, the Titans not having any positives. You know, Cam Newton's asymptomatic, you know, things are going good. You know, what about 7:30 a.m.? Things start, you know, hearing about the Titans more positives, you know, Stefan Gilmore. And I think the Raiders had somebody test positive also. So, you know, it's just you knew it was going to happen. It's all coming in at one time. So the problem with the NFL scheduling is there's no flexibility really, other than one bye week.
Which they're planning to add a 18th week, Ryan.
I think that's got to be your most logical solution right now. You got to give some give and take. If you want to play the season, you got to. You see it in college football. There's a lot of give and take. They scheduled it. They understood it. These leagues, and they scheduled in more bye weeks than usual. So I think that's what you're seeing. But the NFL was kind of, as usual, pretty bold in their assumptions that nothing was going to happen. I think, or I think they could overcome it. But as you learn, COVID's going to happen to everybody. It's not everybody, but it's not going away right now, Santiago.
More bad news for the Tennessee Titans. 2 more players were tested positive this morning, delaying the reopening of their facility. I guess the Bills game might be in jeopardy as well for them.
See, this is where the flexibility issue happens, Santiago. The Titans already took their bye week last week. Now, what do? NFL, did they add another week? Did they make the Titans forfeit this week? I mean, the probability of them playing right now seems very small. It was, I think, 50-50 going into today before the positives, but now I think you're looking at a small percentage. And everybody's like, oh, they should just play Monday night. Why don't, if they get back in, Well, the problem is the Bills play next Thursday night, Santiago. So then if the Bills play Monday night, then you have to move the game next Thursday, too, of the Chiefs. And you think about this, Santiago, you have the undefeated Chiefs, the undefeated Bills. That's the big night for the NFL. They want to, take caution with that game. So there's a lot of moving pieces.
Something to definitely look at, as I usually say. The Titans, there was one case that I saw last week, I believe, when the Falcons found out one player that got tested, but they had this had the game scheduled as a regular schedule. I'm not sure if you heard about that story.
Yep, A.J. Terrell, rookie out of Clemson, tested positive, I think, the day before. They just put him on the COVID list, and they just played the game, which is kind of different than what happened to the Patriots. The other day, Cam Newton gets tested, and they stopped the game. So I don't know if that's anything to do. That's a lot of problem with the people following it is you cancel or delay the game because the quarterback gets it, but a regular player gets it, and you just keep on playing. So that's just kind of an observation. I'm not quite sure. I'm sure there's a lot of moving pieces that we're not privy to that information to that goes into these decisions. But, the optics are just different. And I'm not quite sure what went into delaying the Patriots while the Falcons played, the day after.
The first Patriot player that was infected was Cam Newton. So far, he's been asymptomatic, so the protocols are a little bit different. He got about 5 days to get better, and obviously had 2 negatives. So Cam could practice by tomorrow, but with the second Patriot player getting infected today, that might delay the facilities opening for 2 more days. So that'll probably be till like Friday or maybe Saturday. So far 2 teams have been, or maybe 2.5. Patriots, Titans, and the Falcons have issues. The Titans especially have a lot of issues because it feels like every other day they will get infected. So hopefully things will get better for the NFL. I know that the NFLPA have been doing some investigations at the Titans facilities, and they've been noticing some flaws in it. So hopefully they'll get that corrected. And what you're saying, I believe the protocols is they might force teams to forfeit if they don't follow it.
Yeah. I think when news broke last week about the Titans, it became first thing people said, the Titans are going to have to forfeit to the Steelers. I think that's the last thing that would I think because they had the bye week left, they gave them a little flexibility. But, right now, again, it doesn't look like you're going to play the game. What do you do? Is the league just basically, do you cancel the whole week this week? and move it all the way to this new week that you add on to the end of the year. Again, these are, it's Wednesday. You've got time, but you got to be probably made the decision today.
Something to definitely look at. Of course, we'll be following along. Follow our Twitter.
Let me just say this. Baseball season started in August. First 2 weeks of baseball, no issues. And then what happened, Santiago? The Marlins came, right? And
half the team or most of the team got infected.
And what happened, Santiago? It got resolved. They played. And what happened right now? They're in the playoffs. They're the organization's playoffs, but in general, the season went on. They followed the rules and and carried on. And that's what the NFL's got to do. It doesn't look good right now. It's a bad look, but you kind of just got to press through and hope for the best. The difference between baseball and football is you can make up games a lot easier in baseball than you can in football.
Yeah, so far, we'll definitely keep an eye on that. Follow us on the Twitter account at the Sportscast1 for the latest when it comes to development. Another league called the NBA are in a bubble, and they have way less issues. And the Lakers last night won Game 4 by defeating the Miami Heat 102-96. It was kind of scrapey, kind of tough for the Lakers at the beginning, but they're able to scrape it off. Ryan, is this it? Is this the Lakers and LeBron James' fourth championship?
It looks very, very good for that situation. Last night was back and forth, Santiago. It was a hard fought. In an era of lots of scoring and not a lot of defense. This game is very, very hard-nosed. It's very tough. It was a good game to watch. Both teams competed at a high level. But Anthony Davis is, he's a difference right now, Santiago. When he's on, he's just an impossible matchup because you can't guard him in the post, because he's, too tall and too strong. So, but then, you guard him out by the 3-point line and he's going to, drive right by you. You leave him open, he's going to, he hits a 3-pointer at 55% in the finals. It's just a matchup nightmare, and LeBron just carries on, just the fact of the Santiago, we talk about the 2003 NBA draft class as one of the best draft classes ever. And it was. You got Carmelo, you got Dwayne Wade, you got Chris Bosh.
And LeBron James.
And LeBron James. You look at Carmelo's hanging on by a thread, but he's nowhere near the player he was. Chris Bosh is already retired. Dwayne Wade's already retired. And what is LeBron James doing, Santiago? Playing at an MVP level.
High level, correct.
That's something special. You don't have to love the guy. He's very polarizing figure, but you got to respect, how he maintains his body, and the level that he continues to play at is something special. You can't deny that. As a fan of the NBA and as an observer, you have to recognize. It's the same as Tom Brady. You can like him or hate him, but you have to recognize that man's 42 years old, and Sunday, he's throwing for 400 yards. Who could have thought that? I'm 35 years old, and sometimes it's tough for me to get out of bed in the morning. Nonetheless, playing an NFL game. So you've got to recognize, a special breed, and that's LeBron James is. He continues. Anthony Davis may make the special plays, but every game, he just continues to carry the team, LeBron James. But, the Heat are battling their butts off. They're obviously a little overmatched. Game 3, Jimmy Butler came through, but you can't, the type of level that Jimmy Butler played at Game 3 is way above his head. You can't expect him to do that each and every night. And that's the thing with the Heat, they have a lot of good players. They don't have that superstar who's going to, LeBron James or Anthony Davis, who are going to come out each and every night and put up, special numbers. The Heat have got a player each night who put up really good numbers and a lot of good players. But that's the issue, and that's the difference. But they'll develop. You've got Bam Adebayo, who's,
going to be the next Anthony Davis. He's just Anthony Davis in training. Tyler Hero, is very special. Jimmy Butler, is probably on the downside of it being, his career, but he's still playing at a really high level. And then you got Duncan Robinson, who is a special, 3-point specialist. It reminds me a lot of J.J. Redick. He may not be ever the go-to player, but you know what you get. You leave him open, he's going to hit the shot. So the Heat, I think, and Eric Spoelstra is just the right coach. Underrated. When he had LeBron James, he built a system that would succeed for LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. They basically takes a couple of years to accumulate the talent, and he builds a system around these players. And there's a willingness to adjust, his playing style is a sign of a great coach, and his teams always play hard. They don't make dumb decisions, and they compete, and that's what you see on the Miami Heat. You see a team that's overmatched, they don't have the horses the Lakers have, but they got heart and they got desire, and it's something for them to look at and say what they want to be. You've got a couple of years of these players not making very much money, and eventually these players are going to get huge contracts, and you've got to maybe have to pick and choose which ones you want to keep. But right now, you've got to capitalize. Hopefully they're able to sign, maybe one more person in the offseason that just really completes this team. Go ahead.
Would a healthy Dragic and a healthy Bam, would that have made a difference or not much?
I think Bam played. He wasn't 100%, but I don't know what more he could have given you. He played hard. It wasn't polished, but he battled in there with Anthony Davis. He's about the only one that he can stop him. I think it takes 3 or 4 different players when he's not in there to really contain him. And that's the problem is you take those couple players to stop Anthony Davis, and that's when LeBron and company will beat you. And that's but the future. So they really, when the season started, who would you talk about in the East?
Milwaukee. That's it.
Milwaukee, the Raptors,
and Boston.
Sixers and Boston. No one's talking about the Heat. Everybody thought, okay, this is a playoff team, maybe.
8th seed. I've been hearing 8th seed back in the beginning of the season. I remember it.
Yeah, that's what I think you thought. Okay, they make it a playoffs. They get destroyed by the Bucks. What happened when they played the Bucks? The Bucks were not even in the same class as the Heat were. That's just a testament to how far this team's gone, how good of a coach Spoelstra is, and frankly, how good of a GM Pat Riley is to go out and find these players. The problem is the way the Heat were finishing the season is that they're a borderline playoff team. So they were never getting high draft picks. So when you pick in that end of the lottery, you really, it's hard to hit that home run. And I think you've hit a couple home runs with Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo. And they even, Kendrick Nunn, Duncan Robinson, those pieces that they're putting around this team, and obviously they struck a hold of Jimmy Butler, because Jimmy Butler could be one of those players that tears your team apart because he can be egocentric, or you put him in the right situation like he was a youngster with Chicago, and he can take a team on his back like he tends to do. But go back to your question, if Dragic was healthy, it's more opportunity for Tyler Hero. I think, they work good together. So, yes, maybe Hero will have a little less pressure on him. But at the same time, I don't think he would make that big of a difference in the outcome of the series.
Well, the Lakers are up 3-1. Game 5 is on Friday night, so we'll see if the Lakers clinch a championship they haven't done in 10 years, and it'll be LeBron's 4th championship, definitely getting up there with the Kobe's and the Michael Jordans. So looking forward to history no matter what happens. Let's go into college football. The Florida Gators are 2-0, Ryan. They beat on week 1, they beat Ole Miss 51-35, a lot of points there. And then they beat the Gamecocks by 4 points, 28-24. How would you perceive the performance this year so far?
38-24.
38-24. I mistyped. 38-24. That looks better for Florida. But so far, 2-0. Are you satisfied of what you're seeing right now? So far.
Am I satisfied or 2-0? Yes. Is it totally, I'm watching the game Saturday, for many years it was, okay, I hope our offense can just score a couple of touchdowns because our defense will hold them. It's complete opposite. I just hope our defense stops them a couple of times because our offense is going to score a lot of points. It's a totally different way of thinking. They've recruited some different players, and you got an offensive-minded coach who's, going to throw the ball. Got the right quarterback, Kyle Trask, who is playing at a Heisman level. 10 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's got 20 incompletions on the whole season. So he's throwing, throwing the ball very well. Kyle Pitts himself, the tight end's got 6 touchdowns. So he's got a go-to receiver, down the middle, and on the outside, you got playmakers, Kadarius Toney, Grimes. What they got to do, they got to be able to run the ball. They have 38-14 in Santiago going into the fourth quarter, and their inability to run the ball, grind out the clock, let the Gamecocks, stay around, and get a couple of touchdowns later to make this game actually a little closer than it really was. But, you're going against one of the mystery teams of the SEC in the sense of, okay, Texas A&M's got talent. They got a 3-year starter and quarterback in Kellen Mond. They recruited well, but what happened Saturday when they played at Alabama? They got steamrolled again. They don't look like they're playing at the level of the talent that they have. So yes, the Gators are playing better than the Aggies right now. They're about, their program's farther along, but this is a trap game because even though you're not going against 110,000 fans, you're going against 30,000 fans, which is probably the most fans you'll play against all year. They're, highly into the game. This is a game that they've circled at home. So I think you're going to get Texas A&M's best shot because this is their season, Santiago. They're 1-1. You go to 1-2 in the West, and it's over. Especially you already have a loss to Alabama, so you're going to get your best shot from Texas A&M. Are the Gators going to get enough? I think they'll be able to score. Are they going to be balanced enough to to keep control of the ball, and get enough stops? That's going to be the difference in the game. Because the Gators will get pressure on Mon. They've been able to get pressure on the quarterback, but their back end, the secondary, which I thought was going to be the strength of the Gators, because you bring back Marco Wilson, Khalil Elam. These are 2 highly rated cornerbacks and a lot of experience in the second, in the safety position, but continuously they're getting burned by the deep ball. So that will be, a factor to watch. But, I think this is going to be a 1-possession game going into the fourth quarter. I do hope the Gators, and I do believe the Gators will pull this out, but it's going to be a highly entertaining game.
This weekend, of course, is college football. Anything else before we head into predictions? Because there will be college football prediction games. Anything else you want to talk about? Alabama,
Sure.
What are you seeing so far?
Alabama, awesome. Mac Jones, the other high.
Are you convinced he's a starting quarterback?
Absolutely, Santiago. You can't watch Saturday and not think so. Is he playing with a full deck of cards in the sense of, the wide receivers? Absolutely, It's not hard, to play pitch and catch, when you got Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith out there. But, yes, he's a real deal. Alabama's a real deal. I know our friend Justin is highly concerned about their defense, but, yes, they will be okay. They got a week or 2 to prepare before that big game against Georgia. So
that defense doesn't look 100%. It just doesn't seem too reliable, doesn't it?
It's college football in 2020, Santiago. It's different. I think, when Nick Saban came in 10 years ago, the game has changed. The SEC, it was all about, running the ball and ball control and play defense. Things have changed, it's outscoring the other team, not,
is really the name of the game. And once Nick Saban, figured that out with, Tua and Jalen, that, you got to build your team a lot differently. They're successful. And I don't think he understands that, was it perfect for Alabama on Saturday defensively? No, but it wasn't horrible either. It's kind of the going rate in the SEC. And so they're going to get a real test on defense too. With that saying, when you play Mississippi and Lane Kiffin, Matt Corral is a great quarterback. There is speed all over the field for Mississippi. The problem is when you talk about bad defense, and that's what Mississippi is. There, Alabama will be able to score as many points as they absolutely want to on Saturday because Mississippi won't be able to stop them.
College football is getting interesting, of course. Keep in mind, guys, every SEC team will only play SEC teams, so there will be no Mercer, no Citadels. There will be a lot of wear and tear. That I can tell you. But we have no time.
Santiago, before we go into predictions, Liberty Flames 3-0, playing against the Louisiana Monroe Warhawks on Saturday to go 4-0 before they have their first ACC football game against Syracuse next Saturday. So a big contest for the Hugh Freeze and the Flames as they get back on the field.
Man, the momentum carry on towards those ACC games. Let's begin. Florida versus Texas A&M. Ryan, can Florida win on the road?
Absolutely, yes. And I share a quick little story to share about this game is Kyle Trask, the quarterback of the Florida Gators. His parents were Texas A&M graduates who fell in love with going to football games at Kyle Field. Therefore, they named their son Kyle. So it's ironic that that he'll be going to Kyle Field on Saturday to play against the Texas A&M Aggies. But yes, go Gators!
Quite interesting storyline. Let's go Virginia Tech at UNC.
Very important battle. Two undefeated ACC teams. No team really has been affected more by COVID, but still playing their games in Virginia Tech. Still haven't played with their starting quarterback, Hayden Hooker. But that's why I'm going to go this week with the Tar Heels.
The Tar Heels, the Baby Blue. The Tennessee Volunteers at the Georgia Bulldogs.
Game of the week in the SEC, Santiago. You know who has the longest winning streak in college football right now?
Tennessee,
8 games in a row. Have they beaten a marquee team among those 8 teams? Absolutely not. 2 games against Missouri, 2 games, against South Carolina. So yes, they got an 8-game winning streak, but this is a proven game. A lot on the line, a lot of big game in the SEC East. But I do think Georgia, that defense. If you want to talk about a team that plays defense in the SEC, the Georgia Bulldogs play defense. That is a mean, nasty team, and I think they found their quarterback in Stetson Bennett. I want to say the Volunteers, but I gotta go with the Bulldogs.
You can't go wrong. Safe bet. Alabama versus Lane Kiffin's Ole Miss.
If you want to watch a game where you're going to see a lot of points, a track meet, go for this game. I just think Alabama could score 70 in a heartbeat against that Ole Miss. So I'm going to go Roll Tide.
We'll see if they tweak that defense. And finally, it could be the game of the week, but maybe not for Ryan. The Miami Hurricanes at Clemson. The Clemson Knights.
Oh, yes. You want to talk about it? I'm going to go back to my man Kyle Trask here at the Florida Gators. Santiago, the Eric King quarterback of the Miami Hurricanes. Him and Kyle Trask played in the same high school, and Kyle Trask never started a game because he was always Derek King's backup quarterback. Fun little fact there. But Derek King and high-flying Miami Hurricanes going against the number 1 ranked Trevor Lawrence Clemson Tigers. This will be a good game. I think this is a lot in line for the ACC to see how the conference has improved in general. When the second place team goes, second
seeded team.
Yes, basically goes against the King. I just think it's still a King's team, still Clemson, still Dabo, still Trevor, still Travis Etienne, still too much talent. I'm going to say the Tigers roll.
Hey, Ryan's picking safe picks, no daredevil picks. I'm picking Miami. I think Miami has to knock out the King and the Beast. Maybe this might be the year for it.
It might be the first of two matchups, Santiago. It might be the first of two matchups.
Quite possibility. Would be nice to have another rematch. NFL Thursday Night Football. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Chicago Bears, which did not do well with Foles this past weekend.
Oh, talk about whiffing on quarterbacks. The Chicago Bears are a tough watch at times. But I am going with, again, my man Tom Brady up there, 42 years old, slinging it around after going down 24-7 to the youthful San Diego Chargers. They came back and won the game, and I don't think they look back because I don't think they're going to give up many points to the Chicago Bears this week.
Scotty Miller, I think he's the new Edelman.
He is. I don't know if that's a racial profiling, Santiago, but yeah. Short white guy.
I'm just saying, favorite player. I didn't say anything about race, but I'm saying that he likes to pass to him, and I picked him up for fantasy, so it's probably a good pickup.
I don't know if Mike Evans will be playing, but I don't think they need Mike Evans to play in this game.
A factor. And who do you think is the go-to I know they've been trying to go to Gronk, but it feels like they're going OJ Howard's injured. So probably Brait, right, for the TE position.
Yeah, you got Bray, you got Gronkowski. They're loaded. No team has more money.
The tight end position is good for Tampa. They could I canned them out like anything.
We don't know about Fournette. We don't know about Godwin. We don't know about Evans. So yes, they have injuries, but I think they still have way too much more talent than the Chicago Bears right now.
They got Ronald Jones, by the way.
They got Ronald Jones. That team is they're okay.
You can't go wrong.
Which about your team up north.
Which yeah. I think I'm pretty confident they're going to win like the NFC South.
Oh yeah, so I think we talked about this last week. With me and Jeff. This is not. Yes, the Saints did play a little better this week against the Lions. They scored some points. Drew Brees is a little bit better, but this is not the Saints team we're used to. The only thing we know is that the Falcons aren't going to win the division, and still we're talking on October 7th, and Dan Quinn is still the coach of the Falcons, and we still don't know why.
Sticking with, you think the Patriots performed well even though they lost against Kansas? Like, do you think they did able to contain them?
The defense was really good, Santiago. 26 points and 7 points of that was off of a pick six. The offense of the Patriots did not help them out at all. There was so much pressure on their defense. I think they played very well. Belichick had one of his better game plans against Mahomes. You don't underestimate, what, Bill Belichick, when he was motivated to put up a good game plan, he will. And again, he proved it the other night. And I know the game wasn't close, but what the Chiefs usually do on a Sunday, that's not what they usually do. So.
But if Cam was present, would it be a little bit different?
Absolutely. I don't know if they would have won, but it would have came down to the end. If the defense played the same way.
And there you have it. You can watch Thursday Night Football NFL tomorrow night at 8:20 p.m. Tampa at Chicago, so it should be quite interesting. Poll question of the day. What is the best Frappuccino? Options are caramel, s'mores, pumpkin spice, or midnight mint mocha. Ryan, what's your choice?
I never had. I think we talked about this the other day. I'm not a coffee guy at all.
Oh, but hey, good for you.
Got my Pepsi Max though, Santiago. That's my coffee.
But if you hypothetically, in a perfect world, which of these would you have?
Probably pumpkin.
But is it like all year long? Anyways,
timing issue up here.
Yeah, timing issue. Obviously, pumpkin spice would win, even though if it's only through from October to December, is definitely one of the best. But the Sportscast fans and followers are picking caramel as winning first place at 71%. S'mores at 14%. Tied with pumpkin at 14%. Midnight mint mocha is at 0%, Ryan.
I don't even know what that is.
I know, I don't. Which I should have put Java chip or Java chocolate chip frap. I think that's probably was like the 5th or 6th. I was doing some research yesterday on. But anyways, you can definitely vote on the Twitter feed. You got about 8 hours to vote on it. So definitely choose your choice. and make sure that you are pick which Frappuccino is your favorite. Ryan, Christa, what is the best way to reach you? Talk to you about Joe Flacco starting for the Jets this weekend.
Oh boy, what! I saw that. Now kudos to Sam Darnold the other night for trying to play through that injury, but I think he probably did more harm playing the other night when he shouldn't have been playing. But yeah, Joe, that's why you bring in Joe Flacco. You know, he's not going to hurt you. He's a game manager right now, Santiago, and he'll do that. You know, probably still not enough for the Jets. I don't know why, you know, Adam Gase is still coaching the Jets, and I don't know why Dan Quinn's still coaching for the Falcons.
Maybe he's too early for Black Monday.
Santiago, are you ready for Tua yet?
I mean, I've been hearing because the next couple of games are pretty easy, so it's pretty doable for Tua to play those games and start and probably have less risk of injury. But I still think wait till December, man. To be honest, I want to secure. I mean, this guy's very fragile.
Yes, and frankly, look at what Ryan Fitzpatrick's done. It's not his fault, you know. I think he's playing.
He's a bridge quarterback. He's not going to win the Super Bowl for you, but he is going to give you 8 wins at least, I guess. At most.
At his best, he's a fun quarterback because he's going to keep both teams in the game. You know, he's going to make the good plays to you, but he's also going to make those "what are you doing" plays, right to the other team. So, but yeah, I think keep a couple more weeks, keep them watching and learning, until you absolutely know your season's over. Then you bring Tua in because then you have nothing to lose. So. I still think, the Dolphins aren't that bad of a team. They're better than I thought. They're just not getting those wins at the end of the game.
It just takes time. But anyways, what is the best way to reach you, Ryan? Online.
Mad Dog Report 18, and then, keep up to date. We got a lot of good live tweeters during, our major sporting events going on. So keep up with the Sportscast Twitter, during the NBA Finals and NFL.
We just haven't really touched on the college football. Only Alabama games we live tweet. But hopefully Florida soon.
Yeah, well, I'm just waiting for the Florida games not to be played at noon, Santiago, in the middle of a Saturday when it's nice out. I got DVR. I watch it late at night.
Oh, that's why it's kind of quiet at noon time. Anyways, as Ryan was saying, you could follow our live tweets at the Sportscast1 on Twitter, or go to thesportscast.net for the latest and greatest. We're always breaking news, what's happening, especially in the NFL, what injuries, who's opting out, which player got, was tested positive. So definitely keep us up to date. We just don't do podcasts. We also do some late breaking news and news that we get before ESPN does. So definitely follow us at the Sportscast1. Tomorrow night, Victor Orocho.
What other shows do we have coming up this week?
Yes, tomorrow night we got Victor Orocho, and he will be having a former NFL ref tomorrow night.
All right, there you go. He's always good for a Giants rant or two, I think.
But, yes, he said that the Giants are going 0-16. Can you believe that?
Yes, I can't believe it.
Oh, wow. 0-16, come on. I mean, the only team that I know in the past have done that is the Detroit Lions.
They have 6 games against NFC East, and he's got to win at least one of those.
The tank for Trevor begins this season.
Yeah, but Santiago, they're only 1 game out of the playoffs right now.
That's true. Yeah, right now the Eagles are number 1. But anyways, definitely follow us and watch the Victor Orocho Show live on Periscope at the Sportscast1. Definitely some good treats. We have a full lineup of shows throughout the week. The Sportscast is definitely formulating into a full network. And listen to our live radio. And I do want to disclose this. This is breaking news. There is the Sportscast app available for iOS. You can download that right now. Go into the App Store, and you're able to listen to our podcast, our radio stream, read our latest articles and news. You can do it all there, and check it out at the. So search for the Sportscast, and you should see it there. So, anyways, Ryan, great show.
Yeah, it's a fun show. It's always great. So much going on. It's in the sports, in our 2020 sports world, always breaking news. So stay up with the Sportscast to keep you up to date.
The sports dump still going. Anyways, have a great day.
All right. God bless everybody.